Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cooperville Live. It is so good to be back on a Thursday. I'm not sure if it gets much closer to ideal weather than this. 72, not a cloud in the sky. This is why people stick around the state of Wisconsin. They're like, you get the summer and then you get this beautiful fall, and you're like, I would depart during the winter when it's 75 below zero, but there's days like today. There are days like today. I hope you are having a wonderful day. There we are. Now we're on the cameras. Join in the chat wherever you're watching. Thank you so much. Facebook Live on the Cooperville Live page. We are also on youtube.com/Cooperville Live. And for you who do the Twitch stuff, twitch.tv/Cooperville Live. We are everywhere you want to be. I feel like that's been copyrighted, though. We probably shouldn't say that. Let's check the sponsors. CoopervilleClothing.com. We have a new drop coming up tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're a part of the texting group, you'll get the update before that. Otherwise, check our social medias because we have a new drop coming tomorrow. Very Wisconsin-esque. We did a cool topography thing. When I was out west, we did the Oregon Trail, and I got to look at a lot of topographical maps, which, by the way, still exist. And I was like, how cool to have a map of Wisconsin. And then Nick was like, let's put a topographical over top of it. I'm like, cool. That drops tomorrow at 8 a.m. But if you want to check out our line of stuff, CoopervilleClothing.com, the Legends line, which we dropped last week, tacos, the Meat Eater, the GFY, all this stuff. We have so many items. For the guys, for the gals, for you hat aficionados like myself, CoopervilleClothing.com. For the beardos, it's getting to be about that time. If you're a seasonal bearded individual, it gets to be fall time and you get ready for hunting season, perhaps. You let it grow. Your significant other allows you the right to let it grow for these couple of months. While it's growing, take care of it. Captain Coop's beard oils, beard balms, beard butters. We also have our line of, we got the tank, we got the hoodie, we got the t-shirt, and of course gift cards available for you who like to let others make their own decisions, which seems pretty fitting. Good stuff. Joe, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Good to see you all. Yeah, another great day in the Chippewa Valley. Thursday, getting ready for. I tried out a new screen here today. I just want to see if it actually works. It does. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about that situation out in Colorado, right, where you had the elk that attacked the lady, and then you had the dudes that were like, ah. And in the open of the commentary on that video, I was like, I really wanted to see a moose while I was out west. It was an elk. But lo and behold, today we have moose footage. Check this out.
And finally, it's rutting season for moose and elk right now, and they're feeling ornery, as you can see. Earlier this week, a young bull moose used a car for sparring practice.
Car.
This is in Boulder County open space. Chris Devlin kept his
That's
distance
just a baby,
while the
though.
moose
That's
took
a
out
baby
some
moose.
frustration on his car. Now, believe it or not, that's actually a good thing because moose can be very aggressive, especially this time of year. He even tried honking to scare it away, but that clearly didn't work.
So now you know, if you're trying to scare a moose away, honking is ineffective. You come to this program to learn things, which is why I have my guest on today, is so that you can learn stuff. There he is. Joe, what's going on? Any questions, by the way, make sure you jump into the chat wherever you are. It feeds across all platforms, so Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Jump into the commentary and be a part of it. But we had Jonathan Wichmann on several months ago already. We kind of covered all the topics there, but I feel like even in a short span of time, Jonathan, since we had you on, like we thought maybe we were going to progress to a better spot in world, and it feels like we have perhaps gone in the opposite direction. But first and foremost, good to see you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Coop, it's great to be here. You look great, man.
It's the beard. That's why it just covers up half of the face, and that was my goal with this whole thing.
It looks awesome. I wish I could do that. I think mine would be patchy. So
that's what I thought at first, but I had a friend of mine who was well bearded, and he said, "Go and look like you are homeless for 3 months," and I did, and it was patchy at first, but then it all filled in. Now I feel rugged and woodsy and all those things, but it is great to have you back on the show. I know you've been extremely busy. A lot of things going on in your world. We are,
yes.
What are we, less than 14 months away from the 2022 election, so you have a lot going on. First and foremost, though, I do want to say congratulations on the big endorsement that you had a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you. Yeah. For those who don't know, retired General Michael Flynn endorsed me. So that was a big win for the campaign and the movement here in Wisconsin. I'm very grateful to him for that.
And obviously, as people know who are joining in the chat, Joe, Joe is one of my regular watchers, and he was encouraging me to get you back on. So Joe, here's Jonathan.
Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Coop.
But you are obviously running for governor of the state of Wisconsin in 2022. A lot has changed since we last talked, as I mentioned. Do you feel, because we talked about this the last time we spoke, and I feel like it's the same way, do you feel like you are still not getting the amount of recognition that you legitimately should be getting in this race for governor of Wisconsin?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say so. And I'll give you and the listeners an update, actually. So not that polls are the end all be all. You kind of take those with a grain of salt, right? But at least this one was done a little bit more officially. And it was done by Redfield and Wilton Strategies. Now, mind you, the sampling was from August 20th to the 24th. So that was before the General Flynn endorsement dropped, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm only 7 points off Evers. So Evers at 43%, Wichmann at 36%. So that's huge. I mean, 7 point is nothing to close with how much time we have left to campaign. But as far as media attention, yeah, absolutely. Still not getting the same kind of fair coverage. I mean, it's getting so ridiculous. Like certain channels like Upfront and others, they're basically trying to make it seem like there's only one Republican governor candidate in this entire race. No. And Ben Dryden, actually, from Dryden Wire, do you know Ben at all? Ben Dryden, yeah. So even he was going through the news, and it popped up with an article on Upfront, and they're like, yeah, Rebecca Clayfish is the only one running, basically the only one in the race. And he's like, no, that's not true. So yeah, I knew it was gonna be a battle. This is nothing that surprised me at all. When you're speaking the truth, when you're over the target, they're gonna try and attack you or ignore you. But in the end, we're gonna win.
Yeah, I feel like even if I didn't know you, and I know you, we've had you on the show before. If I wasn't aware of your presence and the things that you stand for, and obviously following you on the social medias, which is a great way to get your message out, even in this neck of the woods, in west central Wisconsin, if you will, like you're not getting the attention that the other Republican is getting, because I can't quite figure out why. And maybe you have a better pulse on why this is not more in the forefront and more of the light when you do have multiple candidates that are vying for the right to take on Tony Evers in the election, and only one is getting coverage. I feel like I have questions, and I understand, being outside of, the mainstream media, hosting a live stream show and a podcast, like I dig a little bit further below the surface, but you understand as much as anybody that there are a multitude of Wisconsinites that only get their information from their local news, and whether that's the 5 or the 6 or the 10, maybe they get an update on their way into work in the morning on the radio. But what do we need to do, Jonathan, to get you the proper exposure? Because this feels like an unfair battle that you're fighting right now.
Well, don't be discouraged. I'm very encouraged, really, because they, in this poll, they didn't put my name up against Clayfish, right? And the interesting thing is, if she really was the front runner, the end all be all, the top dog, then they would definitely want to show that somehow. And I think I'm actually polling better than her as it is right now, as it stands, right? I'm getting a lot of word from many different events, the ones that she does attend, that there's not that great a turnout happening. So I don't think she's as well received as people think. Can she raise money? Oh yeah, she can raise money, but we're in the battle for freedom right now, not how many millions of dollars a political establishment candidate can raise, right? And where the people of Wisconsin resonate with me is I've been fighting for you guys since May of 2020. Again, I'll be very clear with everyone. I started my campaign. I put in my hat as the Republican governor candidate, May of 2020. I've been campaigning 15 months already. I might hold when it's all said and done, I really might hold the record for the longest gubernatorial candidate campaign. I don't know. I'll have to check the record books on that. But it'll be about 2.5 years almost that I'll be campaigning. Right. It's not for a position of governor. It's because our freedom is at stake. That's what I'm battling. That's what I'm fighting. Right. The end goal, yes, become governor, but we got to save our republic. We have to save our liberties. That's what's most important. So how do people, again, word of mouth, telling, hey, you got to check out Jonathan Wichmann. Hey, the media is shadow banning him. They're not giving him fair coverage. Here's his web address. Here's his social media. Go do a little research. Go listen to his podcast. Go read his stances, right? He has been consistent from day one, never changing, never wavering. That's what the people of Wisconsin appreciate about me.
And I did notice, not that I'm a numbers guy, but a little bit. I did notice that you have more Facebook followers than she does. So I know forever, whatever that's worth, but I think that that is a testament to what you've been doing for the past, 15 months or so, because of the way you're not necessarily getting the limelight and the interviews on the major networks and stuff, but you're out doing what I believe that people in your position and the positions that they're trying to acquire should be doing, and that's getting out in front of people and actually having conversations with the constituents that you're about to serve.
Right. People when they meet me, and I'm out there, I know certain radio talk show hosts in Wisconsin like to call me the guy running on the internet. That isn't, that's the first thing from the truth. Yes, the social media is a way for me to get my message out there, but I am pressing flesh out there, shaking hands, right? Speaking. I'm all over the state of Wisconsin. And sometimes when I'm at these events, some people are like, Jonathan, you look tired. Yeah, a little bit. I've been 12 hours a day for 15 months. No other, Republican governor candidate is going to be able to say that because I was in the heat of the battle. It's like a veteran that serves a first tour, right? And then goes back for another one. They're tired. They've been through the heat of battle. I went through the lockdowns with you guys. I went through the battle of the mask mandates. I said it's going to come back around again in the second fall, with the schools. Here it is. Mm-hmm. I also gave fair warning about the experimental shot being tied to your employment. Well, they did that to the healthcare workers. Who was out there fighting with the healthcare workers, fighting for their freedoms? Jonathan Wichmann, right? Now there's other good people too. Justin Schmicka, Badger State Resistance, doing great things for the state. He's running for Secretary of State, so you definitely want to follow him. Another great patriot, right? So there's other people, but really early on, it was just a handful of people, and one of them was me.
You touched on two of the major, the hot button issues that are circulating right now, and they're not even hot button issues. They are issues that are really concerning to a lot of people in the state of Wisconsin. And you doing things the way that you're doing by going out and communicating with the public. Are these the two major topics that get brought up in conversation, especially over the last, month to 2 months, as they've, like you predicted? I'm not going to call you Jonathan Nostradamus just yet, but this isn't these aren't the first two examples of things that you've said that were going to happen that have come true. But are these the two issues that are on the forefront of people's minds right now?
Right. And so, the thing is this, I'm not like a fortune teller, right? Or anything like that. But for the last 12 years, I've studied the enemy. I studied the globalists. I know their playbook verbatim. I know what they like to do. And honestly, it's fairly repetitive. It's not that genius. Okay. Do they up the ante? Do they go more for broke, right? Like locking down the entire world, right? For a few months. Yeah, that's pretty extreme, all things considered. So I know this about them. And that's honestly back to your question. Why does the establishment hate me? Why do they not want to get me a lot of airtime, right? The Republican establishment, because they know what I'm here to do. I'm here to take them down, really, to bring patriots with, drain the swamp, right, and actually get something done for once, for we the people. Liberate our freedoms, bring prosperity back. Boy, do I have an amazing economic plan. The focus of where I want to put that revenue and investment in the people of Wisconsin, right? It's our time to rise up and thrive. And as long as these criminal politicians and criminal big tech companies, as long as they're prancing around out there and they're not behind bars, and they should be, because they are criminals. They have committed acts of treason. They have broken the Constitution. They're un-American, right? They're always going to be harassing us, and we're always going to have to be watching our back as long as they're out there. So, Ron DeSantis now, or even, last year or whatever, that's it. His plan and what he's executing would be exactly what I'd be doing right now.
I feel like they should have better tracking on podcasts, so like, oh, look, it's somebody coming from Southwest Florida happens to be tuned in.
Get a lot of hits from Florida there.
Which is good. I mean, if there's any platform to follow, it's the things that you're saying in your podcast. Speaking of, and kind of tying into what you just said, you had a couple of great comments, and I want you to repeat them so that people that didn't watch it can find out. The difference between politicians and patriots was brought up recently, and you had some great commentary on it. Please feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, when I was in Washington County for kind of a get together to know the candidate, right? And there's a video clip, about an hour long. I was with them there. They said, they asked a question, Jonathan, you like to be identified as a patriot, not a politician. And why is that? And what my definition is, a patriot will seek to always do the right thing, no matter the chances of reelection. So we're not thinking about our next term. We're thinking about doing the right thing, following the rule of law, defending the Constitution while we're in the term that we are presently working, right? No matter what the consequences are for the second term. But you don't see that nowadays. Politicians will only make decisions based on, does it help them get reelected, right? Or can they raise funds off of this? I saw many Republicans, a few, right, using the whole medical healthcare rallies, for their political gain, because reelection's coming up next year. They went to onesie twosies here, right? And then they were gone. They disappeared. And that was the end of it. Whereas, myself, Justin, and others, we've been in this day in and day out because we really.
Brother is looking down upon us and pressing the buttons as we speak. Also a possibility. But, that's a great breakdown, because I think there needs to be a clearly defined difference between you and an established Republican who is entrenched in the politics of it all, and because the layperson who's not like entrenched themselves in all the things that are going on will just look at, okay, anybody but Evers. But that can also be a dangerous position to put yourself in when you really don't understand contextually what that person is going to do once they get into office, if they get into office.
Correct. People are kind of confused, like, hey, why is the left media, corporate media helping out, Rebecca, right? Why are they kind of making her front and center? Why are they doing this? Well, it's simple. They want her to get past the Republican primary because they know she can't beat Tony Evers, right? In the end, she's not going to be, and if she by magic, if she were to actually do that, she is not going to implement the same kind of policies that I'm going to do. And I for sure don't think she's going to stand firm on medical freedom like I've been doing. So there's a lot of things that would point to maybe she would waver on that. So I'm here to reset everything and drain the swamp and really have the backs of the people of Wisconsin and do some great things and get it done quickly. I think when people will see Jonathan, as governor of Wisconsin, how fast things will start to turn around and how fast and how much pressure I'll put on people within the Assembly and the Senate to fall in line and start working for the people.
I think a lot of people talk about in politics. They talk about supporting small business. It seems to be a catch-all phrase that just gets thrown out there as like, we support small business, and then when you're in a small business, and we have two, you see that, and over the last 18 months, when you witness like small business after small business after small business vanish and no longer be in existence and never going to be coming back, you go, wait, I thought people were out there toting the flag for small business. It doesn't seem to be the case, but I know you're a true advocate for small business owners, and especially in the state like Wisconsin, where small business really is the pulse and the heart behind the economy around here. And I know you have some plans to really reignite the small businesses of the state.
I do. And for those who are interested, please visit me, like I said, WichmannForGovernor.com, YouTube, Vote Wichmann. My handle on all social media is @VoteWichmann. So if you check that out. But I have all these videos, podcasts. I lay it all out. I explain it. I'm a visual learner, right? So that's why I do that. But I have a plan to help revive small business. And like you said, what happened in 2020 during the lockdown, right? The money velocity really stopped because people were scared. They didn't know if they're going to have a job. They didn't know what was going on. So they only spent their cash on the bare necessities. Now, what was interesting, though, is the multinational corporations like Amazon and Walmart and Target, all them, they got to stay open, right? But it was the hair and salons and all these other ones, all these little small guys, you had to close. You were the non-essential. And, when a country is shifting over to a communist kind of regime, they want to kill all these mom and pops. They want to kill a small business because that's your way to actually provide for yourself and your family, to be independent of the state. Everything that the state does when it goes to a communist regime, it wants to make you more dependent on them. So if they can eradicate the competition and consolidate, right? Everything is about consolidation and centralizing, top down. That's with the big multinational corporations, the supply chain, right? The food supply, everything under one roof. That's why, because people were so confused. How is this policy of lockdown and mass mandates and forced vaccination? Why is everyone going along with this? I mean, this seems ridiculous. Like they're almost like everyone's robotic, right? They're just following in lockstep the same policy. Well, it's simple. I mean, Event 201 talks about it. It's going to be a public-private partnership, but all these multinationals are bought and paid for. So all those billions of dollars of bailouts, all that federal money, there's stipulations with that. So it's coming down from the federal government. Here's what you will do. Here's what you will force on your employees. and they just do it. Right? It's the small businesses that were pushing back. They're like, no, we don't agree with that. That's un-American. And that's why they were abused by big government. So my plan is a Wisconsin first plan. And with the small business, what we want to do is we want to actually direct cash directed towards small business. So get that money velocity going, right? And how I propose doing that is we already pay too much in property taxes. So I crunched the numbers, right? For all people that own a residential home, we're looking to credit back roughly about $250 to $300. That's per property owner, right? Yeah. But what it's going to do is it's going to go onto a debit card, and you have roughly 7 months, all right, to spend it. So right after tax season, in April, right, give or take May to December, that's your time frame to spend it. But you can only spend it on small businesses. So not Amazon, not Walmart, not Target, and not grocery stores, because it's not about food, right? It's about small businesses. Why do we want to do this? Here's why. At that number, right, it's about $750 million that is circulating in Wisconsin, all right, hitting these small businesses within about that 7-month time frame. That gives massive confidence to these business owners to go out and hire and expand, because they know they're competing for $750 million that's circulating within Wisconsin. On top of that, you have other companies or businesses, maybe from Minnesota, right, Illinois, Iowa, right, Michigan. They're like, hey, that's a lot of money to compete for. I think I could do, a good job in this area or this area. I'm going to expand into Wisconsin. I'm going to bring my people, my infrastructure. I want to invest in Wisconsin. I'm going to try and compete for that. There you go. It brings more jobs, more productivity. Off of that productivity, that's when we actually are able to tax, right? It's okay to tax off of the productivity and manufacturing a bit. That's how you raise your capital and your revenue into the state. Not raising taxes on property assessments that somewhat are artificial. They're very artificial, right? We see these properties going higher and higher in valuation, but you haven't done anything different to your property. Yeah. You see? So all politicians know how to do is tax. We need to bring people that are thinking like business owners when it comes to the state.
Oh, 100% agree. As like I said, as a small business owner and seeing that vision and what that looks like, people over in the comments, great idea. I would love it. So we see that vision, and you see what that means to the state. Not on a scale of we're trying to make Wisconsin better. We're trying to improve, in the confines of our borders. But the opportunity for surrounding states to expand into the state of Wisconsin is not just a benefit for them, obviously, but for those who are seeking jobs, for those who are looking for better jobs, and for those who are like, hey, it'd be really cool if we had one of these here. Right. And now there's one in Hudson. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And here's the thing. For people, please listen closely. I'm not all about the city of Milwaukee, okay, or Madison or Green Bay. I'm about a decentralized economy. That's what I'm offering, right? When you elevate and raise new small business up in mass and high volume, it creates a decentralized economy where people have the freedom and flexibility to use their skill sets to provide products and services in many different sectors. But what that means is for your local community where you are at. So you could be in the most rural part of Wisconsin, right? And say you want a new restaurant, a new bar, or a new automobile shop. Someone says, hey, I like living in the country. I like that lifestyle, but I have a skill set that I'm going to bring and start a business, and I'm going to provide this service to my community. Your community as a whole rises up and benefits. That prosperity floods within your small town. That's what I want to do. Spread the wealth around to the whole state. But not like a welfare thing, right? Not like socialism. Right. It's from your productivity. You should be rewarded and incentivized for your good ideas and hard work. Right now, big government is doing the exact opposite of that. And that's why we're seeing the problems we are right now.
And I know you, a guy who's traveled to some of these rural areas, and you've seen, those are the people that work the hardest. Those are the people that work the hardest, and it seems like they get rewarded the least, just because of they don't live in a place like Madison or the surrounding areas. They don't live in a suburb of Milwaukee where they have it seems to be the flood of everything goes down there. But
you're right.
Outside of those two areas, you've looked at, a map of Wisconsin and you see the population. But when you start to look up and you start to get north of, Highway 29, that is where the hardest working people in the country, I think, reside and would be open to having wow, wouldn't it be amazing if we had another opportunity to showcase the things that we can do and how hard we work? I think that's an excellent opportunity for those towns.
Absolutely. The people, like I said, once they get outside of the cities, the people, up north, up northwest are so amazing. First of all, people in Wisconsin are nice and good in general, right? Yeah. But it's just a little extra cherry on top when I get up there in the small towns. I have the best, I really have the largest and the best turnouts for some of the rallies in the smaller towns because they just come. And they're diehard Wichmann supporters, and they're salt of the earth people, great, wonderful people, good family values, right? Hard work ethic. I just wish I could replicate every single one of them in Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. We'd probably have we'd have a cleaner city of Milwaukee if we had that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to bring pride back to Wisconsin, right? My dad taught to do everything with some pride, right? Put your best effort into it. You're walking down the street, you see some litter, pick it up because we all live here, right? It's not someone else's job. If you see it, let's get it done. That's the mentality and work ethic that I'm trying to bring back to the state. That's what we need to do. If we're going to survive the hard times coming up, and there are hard times coming, and I'm going to be very frank about that, whether you like it or not, America is going to go through some tough times. It's what type of leadership do you want at the front leading you through it, right? A good leader will help you get through it with minimal impact, and we'll get out the other side pretty quick. Someone like, of course, like Joe Biden or Tony Evers, it'll drag on and on and on, and things will get worse and worse and worse.
We talked a little bit about vaccine mandates. You mentioned it a little bit in some of your commentary, and obviously the mask mandates, which are coming back. I know in the school district here, it's the strangest thing. It makes zero sense. I think we passed logic like somewhere back in April of 2020.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
So we have obviously the public school that just reinstated a mask mandate within the confines of the school. We also have a private school in the same city that has no mask mandate. So we're, again, logic is completely out the window. We also touched on this vaccine mandate that's coming down from the federal government, from the Biden administration. It feels like we're on the precipice of something, Jonathan, because you're going to have, if these mandates come in, and you have corporations that are going to be either not wanting to participate, or they're going to be forced to participate. You're going to have employees that are going to be put in a position where they're like, this is my livelihood, but this thing I'm being forced to do in order to go to work is against the things I believe in, whether that's religiously or it's my body. I don't really choose to put these things into it. How do you foresee things moving forward? Is this one of those tougher times that you kind of had mentioned recently?
Yeah. It is. It's the perfect mousetrap that has been built for us, right? And I speak about this when I travel and I talk and do my rallies. I said, America really is the last country in the world that has the opportunity that we've all been given from the Constitution, Second Amendment, free speech, right? All these things that we take for granted. So under a globalist ideology, in order for their plan to work, they have to remove that. They have to collapse America down to its knees. And they're going to do that a few ways. But one is the economic side. So for decades and decades, our politicians and the federal government have spent money like drunken sailors. There's never been really a balanced budget. Didn't matter if a Republican was driving the ship or a Democrat. They kept increasing the deficits, taking on more debt. All these have severe consequences. I'm here to tell you right now, the national debt as it stands is about almost $29 trillion, give or take. But the unfunded liabilities, everything included, is about $200 trillion, right? We're never paying that back. So what happens is, yes, technically a government can't default, okay? But at the same time, it does default. So it can either do it in an honest way or a dishonest way. So an honest way is an actual restructuring, all right? The creditors, they take a huge hit, right? They don't get what the money that they thought coming back, and that's in the form of the T-bonds, the treasury bills, which is supposed to be the safest investment you can have, right? They're actually the most riskiest thing you can have right now. And then a dishonest way is for the government, because of the power of the printing press, to keep printing the trillions upon trillions of dollars until the dollar has no purchasing power left. Okay, so what happened in 2020 with the lockdowns, we held way too long. We did damage the supply chain. We operate in a just-in-time system. Most of it's imported from China and other places, right? We see what's going on right now off of the shores of LA you're following that with the 63 cargo containers just hanging out, parking there, right? Give or take, they're about $10 million per ship there. So we're at about $650 million worth of goods that's not moving. That's just sitting there because semi-truck drivers aren't coming to get this. Everything moves via truck, right? You know this. Semi-truck drivers are the unsung heroes of America. If they don't pick it up and bring it to you in the city and the stores, you're not going to have anything, right? And so we saw how fast things cleared out in 2020. We were simply days away from that all disappearing out of shelves. And maybe it didn't matter so much with toilet paper and a few other things, but when it's food, right, that's a whole different story.
Right. It's something that I brought up and I've told my followers and my listeners to be aware of the next time that they go to the grocery store and they just even if it's not something you're going to buy, just observe the shelves. Mm-hmm. Next time you go to the gas station, we had this a couple months ago. I'm like, just observe how much you're paying per gallon of gas, just to have that awareness so that when we have conversations like this, when Jonathan Wichmann comes in and he puts it all into that presentable box and people can understand it, you go, oh, I see this. I am actually witnessing this, because I think there's a big disconnect a lot of times when people they hear you talking about something. They're like, it's not that bad, until they go to get bread. Right. And instead of the bread that they normally get, they're like, well, how come my white wheat bread isn't available today? I have to go with something else.
Right.
Hopefully they start to make that connection. Like, this is a supply chain thing, and here's exactly why this is happening.
Right. Because we're a global economy, we have the luxury of having many different choices of things that, are in season all year round that normally wouldn't be, right? Before that, you could only eat locally, like what you could, bring from within the state or next state over. That's options that you had to work with, really. So the easiest example I give to people is, I say this all the time, if you take a glass dome and you put it over the state of Wisconsin, and nothing can go out, nothing can come in, whatever you produce or don't produce within the state, that's all you get to consume. Okay. So I know, and I talk to many people. I mean, a lot of people understand it, but a lot of people are very detached from reality. They don't know how products get into their shelves or their grocery stores. They don't understand the long, items that have to happen before that product, that finished good, gets into the store. And like you said, it's a very fragile system, and that system has been shook, if not broken, right now. And that's why I'm scrambling with such urgency, because we have to start working to hedge Wisconsin from the storm that is coming. Like you said, we have great people that have a lot of great skill sets, that know how to produce, right? I want to bring the trades back. Seriously, we have to bring the trades back. People have to start working with their hands and know how to do this stuff, right? We can't depend on foreigners or anyone else, overseas to do this, because if we don't know how to do it, then we're going to be without. And don't even get me started on the Afghan refugee thing going on at Fort McCoy. I don't know if you saw that came out right now.
I just saw that news story pop out today. It's another.
Oh, they're all vetted, Coop. They're all vetted. They're all
except for those
citizens.
Except for those two, right, Jonathan? Except for those two.
Just those are the two bad apples. Ugh.
I have question marks, but I think that there is a value in knowledge. I think there is a value in being able to see, not just with the supply chains, but like having some awareness of preparation, because we don't know. There's question marks about food getting in. There's question marks about what's going on at Fort McCoy. There's question marks all across the board. And you hope with the more that you get out and speak, and hopefully the more people that tune into this show, because I talk about this all the time, is about, if you weren't, I don't want to call it awake, but if you weren't aware of what is like legit happening, when it starts to affect you on the day-to-day basis, whether that's gas prices, whether that's things not being in store, or you're starting to see the price of I bought a lemon the other day for almost $2. A lemon, just one, and it wasn't even a big one. It was a little one. So, but even those things, obviously, the supply and demand factors in there too. So being a little prepared, being aware of what's going on, and I think people doing their own research has got to be. I mean, that's again how I found you is if you have to dig below the surface because you're not getting the truthful information on the sources that you normally go to, and you start to find out information. This is where it becomes a really valuable token to have. And hopefully that's something that you share with your family and friends, and you go, hey, this dude, Jonathan Wichmann, was talking about these things, and they're happening because he's observing. You're not just observing, but you're also getting on and talking to the people. Speaking of that, I know you're a huge supporter of our veterans and our servicemen and women. You have a chance to be on the ground and out talking and traveling around the state. What are the concerns that you're getting from our veterans about the state of the state, if you will?
Yeah, they're very concerned. I mean, they are up in arms, right? They are beyond hacked off at Joe Biden administration and everything that went down and how they're being treated. But really, I get a sense when it comes to our veterans, they're really more concerned about being forgotten. It's everything. The thing is, everything that we did, right, was it all for nothing? That's kind of the feedback that I'm getting, and also then those who are suffering from major injuries, both body and mentally, right? PTSD, what resources and things do they have access to help them rehabilitate and recover, right? Are we taking care of our own veterans instead of worrying about people in other places? And I think we are doing a good job in certain areas, but I think a lot of them are falling through the cracks as well. I mean, what is it? 18 veterans a day are committing suicide, right? I mean, that's horrendous. Why is this happening? If I had to guess, I mean, a lot of it has to come down to, hopelessness, feeling like all is lost. What is the meaning of my life? What was the meaning of my military career? What was I doing over there? Right? Nothing makes sense in this world anymore. I fought for all these freedoms, but then I'm coming back, I'm here at home, and they're taking all of our freedoms and liberties away. Right? They're imposing this tyranny. So so that's why I'm trying to empower people. What I want to tell the viewers here is you are powerful. Don't let anyone tell you differently. You as an individual are powerful. And I'm not taking credit for this. All glory goes to God. But look at me, for example, one individual here, right? What I started with nothing. And here I am 15 months later, endorsed by General Michael Flynn, 7 points off Tony Evers. It can be done. Yes, you have to put the work in. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to do the research like I did, 12 years. The reason I make the podcast and the videos is because I took the last 12 years and I'm trying to download it to anyone who will listen, really. So the people of Wisconsin, but nationally or globally, I put in a nice little package with a bow on it. Here, I did all the heavy lifting and legwork. Here you go. Get into it. Research, right? The worst thing a voter could do going into the 2022 election is just checking the party box. That's the worst thing you can do. You are going to lose on so many different levels. You have to vet every single individual candidate. Now, I do my best to give some guidance on that. I'm in the mix, right? So I talk to all these potential candidates, the attorney general candidates, the lieutenant governor candidates, all these different ones, right? And I'm not making necessarily recommendations, but I'm giving you feedback on what I see, what I'm hearing, and what my gut says about these people. And I follow the money. So I follow the money trail, right? Yeah. That's how in certain people, I can be absolutely 100% confident saying this person is not going to do anything good for the people of Wisconsin. They're going to lie to your face. And once they get in office, they're going to turn their back on you over and over and over again. We can't afford that to happen in 2022. So it's every responsibility of every individual listening. It's your responsibility to do this.
Jonathan, you're 15 months into this journey. You have less than 14 to go. What does... And I know you're not a guy that lets off the gas pedal. You're not a guy that's like, oh, well, I got 15 months in. I guess maybe after the holidays I'll get back to it. But like, what does the next 14, less than 14 months look like for you as far as getting your campaign out there, getting your message out there? Is it more boots on the ground stuff? Is it a combination of more things? Like, what does it look like for you on the trek to Madison?
Yeah, so actually, I have a really good ground game going. I'm very pleased. My supporters are amazing. They are the most inspired, dedicated, loyal. I mean, when you become a Wichmann supporter, you become one really for life, right? That's why, a lot of people say, oh, Jonathan, do you have the millions and millions of dollars? I'm not worried about that because all I have to do is get past the primary. There's going to be a lot of things that will be coming down the road that I'll expose about the Republican Party at the establishment level, okay? There's already a lot of shenanigans that are playing throughout the counties, right? Certain vice chairs are pretending I don't exist. They won't talk about me. They won't invite me to speak. Listen, don't be fooled. Every county chair in Wisconsin knows who I am. All right. The head chair, Paul Farrell, he knows. I've talked to him on the phone personally. He got an earful from me for about 40 minutes about all these shenanigans that have been pulled on me. And I told him to tell the county chairs to knock it off. Right. And I gave it. And the moment actually after that conversation happened, like later that night, exact same thing I was telling them to happen. For example, it was the Republican Walworth County Facebook page, right? They said, congratulations to Rebecca who announced that day, right? The first governor candidate to declare. That's what they said. No, it wasn't. That's not true. So I took a screenshot. I sent it to Paul. I said, Paul, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Right. 5 minutes later, the post was deleted. Okay. So we have to check them and keep them accountable. The Republican Party is, they're not working so hard for your freedoms. And here's a good example of this, right? As a candidate, I'm already trying to put out policy ideas to my fellow Republicans inside Madison to protect your freedoms. One thing I told them, right? One thing I said that they should do, see, what they like to do is they like to pass a bill. Okay, we passed this bill, it's good for the people of Wisconsin. But, shucks, Tony Evers didn't sign it. That's too bad. That's all we can do. That's how this game is working, right? We tried, but Tony Evers is a problem. I guess we have to wait till 2022 and maybe we'll get some things done. Well, here's the problem though. Here's what I said. You need to pass a bill that retroactively fines corporations, major corporations, anyone that gets fired for refusing the jab. Okay. It's unconstitutional. There's religious exemptions that everyone should be filing. But if a company fires you because you won't take the experimental shot, all right, they should be fined. So what a retroactive bill would do is the moment I come into office as governor, I would sign that bill and fines of $50,000, $100,000 per person would hit these companies that fired you. Do you think that would make a company think twice right now if they want to fire employees for refusing the shot?
Without doubt.
Without doubt. And this is exactly what Ron DeSantis is implementing. So the Republican Assembly and said they could do this right now. And I know Tony Evers would veto it. That's fine. But it's retroactive. Okay? So that's what that means. So that's how I think. That's the strategy. That's the policy that you're going to get out of Wichmann that you won't find in any other candidate.
Well, Jonathan, the way that you're doing things, like, it should be applauded, because you're doing things, not only are you doing things the right way, which is, let's be frank, it's kind of unheard of in this whole political game. Like, oh, he does things the right way. Like, there should be shock faces shock emoji faces popping up in the chat over here, but you're doing things the right way. You're getting out and doing what I think is the most essential thing, and that's talking to the people of Wisconsin, listening to them, their concerns, their worries, and you're out 15 months in, and you got time to go, and you're going to keep after it. And I love everything about the way you're doing things and your message. And I appreciate you taking time out to be on the show. I know that, like, we had a clamoring for you to come back on and continue to update things, because I know it's been a couple months, but it's amazing how things have shifted in that couple of months.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's some shenanigans that are coming up with the Republican Party. So, there's a nomination process next year, right? Coming to June. Listen, the selected, not elected theme, I've been putting that out there when it comes to a certain candidate, right? That's exactly what's happening. Rebecca is the selected one, but we the people need to elect. So there's going to be some games played with the nomination process. All right. There's a lower probability, I'm not saying it's off the table completely, that I will get the nomination. What they want to happen, though, is they want the people of Wisconsin to believe, oh, it's over right then and there. Right. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Ignore it. Listen, whether I get the nomination or not, I would say ignore it. Even if I get the nomination, ignore it, right? It's about the primary. Make sure you come out in droves and droves in August of next year for the primary. That's what's going to decide this thing. When I win the primary, the Republican Party is forced. They have to, if they know what's good for them. They don't want to create party suicide, to take every resource they have and get behind me from TV, radio ads, just flood everything, right? Support me all the way through whatever last speaking engagements. If I got to, do Madison, Milwaukee, a little bit more, chip away at that, right? Whatever they got to do to get the win against Tony Evers in the general election. The Democrats know that Tony Evers is highly beatable, right? Apart from just massive cheating and fraud, all things being fair, right? He's easily beatable. We will beat him. When it comes to people concerned about the fraud, yes, I'm pushing for the full forensic audit. We have to do that. What Robin Voss and Gableman is doing, that's not the right one. That's a sham. That's a distraction, okay? That's not even correct. But again, as a backup plan, what I need the good people of Wisconsin to do is I need you guys to become poll workers. I need you guys to go and actually flood. Right, when the county clerks call, it should be all good patriots flooding to become poll workers and take the process of the election out of the hands of the left. And don't leave at 3 a.m., right, when those paper ballot dumps like to come in. Yeah. Don't leave until the lying media, the corrupt media, has to report out of their mouths that Jonathan Wichmann is the next governor of Wisconsin.
Well, Jonathan, we're going to get you back on and rally the troops again over the next 12 months or so, and we'll keep fighting the good fight, man. I know you're doing it, and congratulations on coming this far. Try to add like 15 minutes of sleep onto your schedule, like every once a week. If you get another 15 minutes of sleep, like, then you're golden, man. It's an important factor.
I try.
12-hour days, man. You're not messing around.
No, because here's why. My freedom means everything to me. If I lose it, honestly, in my mind, I feel like our life is over in a way, right? So I will not allow the republic to fail. I will not allow Wisconsin to fall if it dang near kills me.
Well, you're doing all the things, man. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Coop, for everything you're doing. You're a great patriot. I hope things are going well for your show and you're prospering. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you to all the listeners.
No, we'll get you back on here very soon, my friend. Take care of yourself, right. And we'll see you on the road.
Thanks, Coop. God bless.
Jonathan Wichmann right there. Make sure you follow him on all the socials, getting the message out. Like I said, he puts it in a nice package for you. You got podcasts, you got videos, you got all the things. So vote Wichmann on all the socials. You can find him. And, of course, he's tagged in all of our stuff, too. Joe, thank you. Gloria's got some great posts on here. Communism doesn't work because the people like to own stuff. That's by Frank Zappa. It's a good one. Yeah, you're welcome for getting him back on. Happy to do so. Thank you all for tuning in. I guess if you missed any of it, I know we had a glitch. It looked like this happened once before when we had somebody in the political arena on, and it's never happened since. Didn't happen yesterday. Hasn't happened since then. but we had a glitch, and I know if we jumped off of one of the platforms, I don't know. Looks like maybe we went down on Twitch. It's weird, though, right? Like, it doesn't happen unless we have somebody who's in the political arena on the show. And then things glitch out. We end up losing the stream. The stream stops and then starts again. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Something to think about. Jonathan Wichmann, thank you for the time today and all the great insight. And dude's just doing it the right way. And I love that. We are off tomorrow. Joe, I know it's your it's your weekend already. It's ours too, besides the work stuff. But we'll be back on a Monday on the show, so make sure you join us. Until then, enjoy the weekend, enjoy all the things, and get out and find out more. Do your research, find the awareness, do all of the things so that you are prepared, my friends. Prepare yourselves accordingly. Follow the show on all the socials. We're on Insta, we're on Discord, we're on Twitch, obviously. The book, YouTube, all the things. Appreciate you all. Peace. That's right, Joe. Peace.